Everybody agrees. Sounds good. Caspa, thank you very much. All right, so let me hit the record button here and we'll get going, and then we'll let her rip. Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well, and it's time for an exclusive interview and conversation with the one and only singer and songwriter Marisa Maino, not only of plenty of solo work out there that we will talk about very soon, but also of the band Tramp Stamps as well. We hope to talk about the controversy they were embroiled in last year and what her latest work is looking like right now. Her new song, Drugs with God, is out on streaming platforms. Give it a listen. I've listened to it. I enjoy it. The ending goes fucking hard. We're going to talk about that. Hey,
I'm going to start crying.
No, don't stop.
I start crying.
Save the tears for later. Save the tears for later, please. All right, listen. I guess the first thing that I want to ask you is like, to sort of lead into the controversy and everything, like, because, you know, to be clear, like, we're having this conversation because you and your PR reached out to me and asked me, like, would you like to have, you know, a talk with Marisa about her new work or anything else? And I said, sure, why not? So, I mean, I guess, like, what exactly was driving that decision, or what was going through your mind in the midst of, you know, working on new material and kind of still moving past, like, what had occurred last year, and maybe my commentary on that as well, that made you decide, like, we got to get a conversation going. We got to have an interview.
Okay, well, I think for one, I told you this, or I have told you this, I'm just a massive fan of you. Like, I've watched you for a long time. And I think for me, my opinion is when you're an artist or you're a writer, you're a producer on the music side in this industry, you get like a lot of bad opinions, whether that be from like labels or management or whatever. And when you write a song or just as an artist, like there's a lot of unhelpful feedback. And I think you're just like a really cool person because while like, of course, you know, you have your thing, I watched some of your videos and you have really good feedback and cool things to say. And so I just think you're like important for art, like not to like, I don't know, hype you up or whatever. I do. You say, I watched this one video. I think it was like, you were reacting to a KSI thing. I know. And you said something where, no, but you said something that was actually such a helpful critique where, you said, if you can envision something along this lines, saying your lyrics back to you in a judgy tone and you don't like that, like maybe you should like revisit the lyric or something. No, but that's actually so helpful because you interface with labels or management or just whatever all day and you hear things like, oh, this should rhyme with this or this should sound like this because this is hot. And that's not like focused on artistry or like what actually makes the song better for the artist. And that's like a really pinpointed, helpful comment in a way of like, does this sit right with you if somebody didn't like this, you know? And so that's really why I wanted to talk to you because I just think you're really cool and I think you're a big fan. And even though you didn't have like fully nice things to say about things that I've created, I was just like, I don't know. I just think you're cool. Like I was excited that you were talking about me anyway, you know, and you said a lot of helpful stuff, you know?
Well,
so,
thank you. Those are kind words. I didn't expect you to say so many nice things. And, you know, again, thank you.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of like demystify the timeline here and a lot of the presumptions made of you and like, you know, Tramp Stamps in general and how you guys came to be and how you know, came to be so viral in everyone's TLs on TikTok. Like, how did the band start? Like, what is the inception of the band? Because I think, you know, for a lot of people who are on the outside judging what you guys did and, you know, kind of hating on it, you know, the perception was that, you know, you guys are like punk fembots assembled by a label and like put together into a package and like forced upon everyone when that's not the reality of the situation. So, you know, what is it?
Yeah, there is sometimes where I wish that was true, so then I could be like, this is somebody else's fault, you know, like, it's probably like some bullshit that I did. But I think the band started, we wrote I'd Rather Die when I was sleeping on my best friend's couch, like in the house I'm living in now. But so it was not this like big label scheme where somebody like had like picked us up and like for a bunch of money. I would love for that to be true, but I'm not sitting on any checks, you know? So basically we had all gotten together. I had written with Paige a few times and I really, really loved working with her. And I was just a massive fan of Caro. and I had met her. She was signed to AWOL at the time. I had just signed to AWOL, and they had this event, and I had met her, and we really hit it off, and we were like, okay, we all three of us should get in a write, because she had written with Paige before as well. So we did that. We had a double that day, so I had a write before that. They had her before that, and then we were kind of tired, so we're like, let's go get margaritas and get trashed and then like write a song. So we were like, okay, that's cool, that's fun. So we did that, and we wrote I'd Rather Die, and I just had such a good time doing it, and I thought it was so fun. And I had said to Caro at her birthday at the Chelsea Cutler concert, we're like in the bathroom doing not solicited things, and I was like, what if we made this a band? And she literally didn't say yes. She didn't even respond to me. She just like walked out the door, and then the next day she came over like hungover as hell. And it was like, all right, so what are we calling our band? And that was it. And then it was top of quarantine. Quarantine happened. They came over. We made a little studio in my front room in this house. And we wrote like what was the EP. And we were just like, we're going to put this out, like whatever. And then when we went to submit it for distribution, it was like people had gotten a listen to it. And all of a sudden everybody's calling us and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Because we were just fucking around. We were just literally just fucking around and hanging out with our friends, So that was the inception of the band, and that's what happened. And then it just got so out of hand.
Right. And, obviously like a lot of that flood of negativity came at you guys through, TikTok, and, you guys are writing, you guys are creating, and you're kind of like inventing the concept of the band and the direction that it's going to go in stylistically, and the way everyone's kind of like, presenting in sort of this pop punk style. Like, at what point did you guys decide like, okay, we're writing, we're creating, we formed the band, we need to start doing some promo, like maybe TikTok is the place for us to kind of independently get on there and start just throwing some things out there and see what works?
To be honest, I think in my opinion, so these are all my opinions to be fair also, like right. I'm not speaking for the girls, I'm speaking as a member of the band and how I feel. But I personally think, to be honest, even though we didn't sign to a major, I think it's just like when you go from working in this industry for so long and like doing things in a certain way, and then you just create this thing where you're fucking around, and then all of a sudden people want to sign it. Like, there's some weird pressure, even though we didn't decide to go that route, there was still some like weird pressure of like, okay, should we really be marketing this? Like, should we be doing stuff with this? And I think, so we tried that, and we did that. We did all the things that normal people do, where you go on TikTok and you're like, okay, maybe we should make a music video to this song. And yeah, so that was really it. I think the reason that we had even marketed it was because of all this like talk in our ears. And so we're like, okay, maybe it would be stupid not to do that, Yeah.
So, I mean, after you were kind of deep into that promo process on TikTok, at least for like a few months, right? If I remember.
Oh, we were heavy into TikTok. Yeah. We would we would set aside like a day a week to make just like a bunch of TikToks so that we would have, like at least something to post every week. And then,
So like at what point after, all the posting and the consistent like engagement, did you guys start to notice maybe there being kind of a flood of attention, or, was there kind of like engagement at first, but was it positive, I guess?
No. So here's the thing that's interesting is I think it was really crazy. It's really hard to put into words how weird it is when you're just like hanging out with your friends and making stuff, and you're kind of just like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what happens, and then it blows up,
Right.
Especially when you're trying to do that in a different way and it doesn't happen, if that makes sense. And so I think that was really trippy. That was really trippy for me, and that was really trippy for the girls. But basically what had happened is I think we had started doing covers or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that was like the first thing we tried doing, and
which a lot of artists on TikTok do for
right, because we had because that's what people do.
Right.
And we'd spend hours on there looking at stuff, and so we had done a cover, and it didn't go it didn't like blow up or anything, but I think it had like 150,000 views in like a matter of like 2 hours, and it was a 5 seconds of summer cover, and we were like, oh shit, like we could do really well on this platform. So we started doing that. And then so we kept doing covers and just little videos like that, things that would trend. And then when we posted Sex With Me, we posted like the first clip of the pre-chorus, and it did really well. And then when that did really well and we made New Music Friday, and that was fucking huge for me because I've been doing this for 7 years and that was my first New Music Friday ever. And I was like, holy shit, you know?
So just to be clear, like you guys were getting this engagement, like, you know, 100,000 views on like a video, that sort of thing. Like up until this point, the stuff that you were getting on TikTok in terms of comments, people were liking it. People were like digging it, the covers and stuff.
There was a few covers. Okay. I'm glad you circled back on that because I lose my train of thought sometimes. But, there were a few hate comments, and this had been something that we had talked about before because, you know, we had done a Gives You Hell color a Gives You Hell cover from All American Rejects. And we had changed like a few of the lyrics. And that was the first time that I think we had saw like a noticeable influx of hate where people were being like, lyrics aren't for everybody or like whatever. And we were just fucking around, you know? And so we're like, oh, that sucks. But we were never like, oh, this is like concerning, you know? But no, and then from then, like every video we would get a little amount of hate. But it was never like to the level of where it got.
Right. So I mean, I guess like at what point did you guys find yourselves at the foot of this tsunami where you're just like, whoa.
It was I'd Rather Die.
Like, yeah.
It was like, what happened is I'd Rather Die. We were like gaining more traction in TikTok. And I think it kind of slowed down a little bit during 1-800 because that was our second single. And that's more of like a slower song and like not really as TikTok-y. So that makes sense. And then, you know, we had like a few viral videos that really didn't have anything to do with music. And those didn't really have any hate. And we posted the I'd Rather Die song because that was the next one that was going to come out. And the song was fucking going off. I was losing my mind. Like I remember sitting there and for like the first 24 hours, I think there was 4 million views on that, which doesn't seem crazy to anybody else. And there was like 900,000 likes or something. And there was like barely any negative comments. And I was like, holy shit, like what is happening? Because I'm used to at least seeing some mean comments. And then and I think because it had done so well in a certain algorithm and one person made one video saying something and then it was just game fucking over. And it was, and we were like, oh my God, you know, so, and that was a bummer because that was the first real viral video that we had from something that we were all really proud of. And then we were like, oh fuck, what did we do? You know?
Right, because I know my first introduction to it was like through people duetting the songs or duetting the covers and just being like, this is bad. I don't like this. This isn't punk. This isn't that. And, you know, obviously like the industry plant kind of accusation came up like over.
It started at I'd Rather Die. I think the industry plant thing started there. Because I think the first video I saw from that, which pissed me off so badly, was somebody saying, because, you know, people were saying like, oh, they didn't write this song or their industry plants. Like, I don't know. I would love to pass it off to somebody else who wrote the song. I'm still proud of that song, but whatever. But they were like, all of the people that you love, like other people have like written this music. And they were saying we couldn't have possibly written this for whatever reasons because, you know, Paige is married or blah, blah, blah. And then there's this one video that's like blowing up from this one girl saying that like Max Martin has written like every song from everybody that you love. And I'm like, okay, so this dude can write this, but this girl in this band can't write this because she's married? That seems so fucking counterintuitive and insane to my brain, you know? But that was when that first started happening. And I was just like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I understand you not liking the song or you had authenticity issues or whatever, but the industry plant thing was just crazy to me. So I would love to be sitting on a massive check. You know, I would love to be doing that. That's your goal, is to be signed by a major. I don't know. Do you want artists to starve forever? You know? Yeah.
No, I mean, just to sort of like be clear about it, like obviously the three of you, I think people just like have a lot of, I guess like ignorance toward the way the industry kind of works and don't really understand that, like, for every Billie Eilish that you see, there's probably like thousands of other artists on way lower rungs who are just like grinding away. Even if they do have like some industry connections here and there, they're not having like record execs like, you know, throwing fat stacks of cash down their pockets.
No, even when you do get signed to a record label, you could get signed to a record label and nobody could give a fuck about you. It's happened to so many of my friends in the industry, or just artists that I write with. You know, they get signed to a label and then nobody does anything and they're stuck there for years, and then they're offset and they have to start all over again, or they're just stuck there forever, you know?
No, that's exactly what happens. I mean, day in and day out, like I see tons of emails every day from a lot of artists on majors or independents who have just been signed. And, you know, they're like, oh, we're moving this new big artist out there. And the thing is, like, I'll see that email and then that's maybe the last time I hear of them. And, you know, I'll check out the music and maybe I don't really care for it. But way more artists go down the drain than actually, like, hit big that are signed.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's sad, because even that was sad to me, just because when you work in the industry, and you know this because you review artists and you're the guy, you know? But just the amount of work you have to do in order to even get signed to a label. And I think for that to become a taboo thing is really dangerous, like to the industry, in my opinion. For industry to be a demeaning term, even though we're not, just on an existential thing, that really upsets me, because I'm like, I see kids grinding for years and all the things that they have to do to even get signed by a label. And then they get signed by a label and nobody might even... Hopefully somebody cares about them. If all the stars align, the things will happen. But they had to grind forever to get there or do all these things, you know? And I'm just like, oh.
No, I agree. This is kind of what angers me about the industry plant. Not even the accusations, but the issue with it as a concept in general, because
shouldn't be an issue.
It shouldn't be an issue, because the thing is, like, this is exactly what record labels did throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. They'd go to some place where they'd send an A&R out. They'd discover some random fucking band or person or this who sounded really good. Maybe they had a demo, maybe they had a record.
Respect. Yeah.
And then they signed them and they put out their records. And the thing is, like, I feel like the democratization of music taste online has been good in some ways, and that it's allowed people to have like really organic followings, and, you know, people can really get into the idea that, like, yeah, I was one of the first fans, or this artist like really came from nothing. I mean, that's cool and that's great. But the thing is, like, you know, why shouldn't we also sort of allow the older model of things to happen as well? If somebody at a label sees potential in somebody and signs them, why not give that person a shot as well? They could be just as much worth a shot as somebody who got hot off SoundCloud.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, what's the vehicle of transportation to get there, you know?
Right, exactly. And as long as the music is good and authentic and the artist is making what they want to make, like, what does it fucking matter? Because, you know, look, we're in a position these days, thanks to streaming and, you know, thanks to the way things kind of bubble up organically online, like, labels have gotten lazier and lazier. Like, a lot of labels aren't.
Bummer, dude, because I love labels.
A lot of labels aren't going out and looking for good acts and good art. They're just waiting for some fucking asshole to get buzz online, and not even good buzz, like sometimes just controversy. And then as a result of that, then just sign them. But the thing is, like, you know, labels should actually be going out and offering big contracts to people who they see potential in.
Couldn't agree more. I miss that. I miss the artist development, you know?
Exactly.
And I hate to be that person to be like, oh, music was better back then. It wasn't better. It was just different. But I think art development was different, you know, because you'd have somebody that would sit there with an artist and watch them grow for like a year or however long it took them to get there. And then you come out with like a Stevie Nicks. And it just doesn't happen anymore. And that's super sad.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're talking about kind of what initiated this wave of negativity, you know, toward the band and toward you. Like, over this course of time, you're seeing articles come out from publications who maybe one day you envisioned writing about you, but in a different way, you know, writing articles about the whole thing. You know, during this moment, at least you know, what are you feeling? Because I know after the sort of onslaught you had, you know, sort of like a Notes app response to the whole thing. But, like, you know, prior to that, like, you know, what are the pressures that you're feeling? What's stirring inside you that's making you feel like I got to say something? And, you know, how did what you eventually said, how was that taken in your eyes?
That's a broad question. I think I felt all of the emotions at once, you know. I think I felt misunderstood. I felt angry. I felt really sad because I felt like I had made a lot of missteps, and it seemed like there was no way out, if that makes sense. So there were a lot of people saying things, and right, like you dream of these certain publications to talk about you, and they're talking about you in this way about this thing, and you feel like you don't have a chance to defend yourself, or they're putting out information that just genuinely isn't true. And I honestly don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh fuck, pretty much, you know. I was like, oh shit. So yeah. I think it was a big oh fuck moment. What I should have done was kind of chill, but I think you're put into this world that almost isn't real, in a way, because the world that people had created for us, like while there were a lot of things going on, like a lot of that world we didn't exist in and was not authentic to us, and were just crazy things. So you sort of become associated, you disassociate from yourself, and you become a part of this narrative that you're not really a part of. And so you're just like lost in the sauce. You're like drowning. So it was a big drowning feeling. I don't know if that clears up anything, but yeah.
No. It does. And through this chorus of, you know, articles and, you know, also just like all the criticism that you guys were getting on TikTok. I mean, you know, we may have already talked about this, but just to kind of like put a pin in it, like what's the one biggest thing that was constantly being thrown at you that you feel like was the biggest untruth or the biggest like total misunderstanding in regards to all of this?
I think the thing that was taken away. Okay, this is a good question, and I want to answer this as clear as I can. I think when we had started the band, it came in a time where I really needed it. And it was with people that I loved, and we made shit that I had a really fun time doing. And I hoped when I put it out that it was give people that feeling. And when it didn't, that was devastating for me personally. And I understand, you know, a lot of the things that happened and why people felt that way. But I think that it was taken into this context of, and there were a lot of things we wanted to do, right? We were like, okay, if we can make this go viral and we can also hide subliminal messages in there, that's cool. Like we made our label Make Tampons Free, and we had all these plans to like, oh, if this does happen to pop off and we do play shows, we can have a tampons charity, because it was in COVID and it's really hard for women to get tampons in general. And just, I don't know, there was just an opportunity. And I think when you're an artist and you have a platform, like you have a responsibility to do something with that. That's just what I believe. Even if it's silly and it's just you having fun with your friends, if you can like make your little piece of the world like a little bit better, I think that's fucking awesome. And I think that was the point of it. And I think when people took it into this place of like, oh, they just want to like shove like bad feminism down everybody's throats, like that was fucking crushing for me. So I don't know if that answered your question, but no, that
it does. Yeah. And I love hearing it from your lips, because, you know, I mean, while some of those criticisms maybe, you know, sort of like made sense looking at Tramp Stamps in a vacuum, you know, it's just like, oh, well, they're just a trio of people I can hate. You know, but hearing you say it, it does sort of make those criticisms feel like, well, in a way, they're kind of just like telling me that I'm being a woman wrong, you know, or having like
that was that was, I think, when all of that was happening. And even like I got a lot of hate for being a bad queer person, and like just a lot of things. God, I feel like I'm gonna cry. That was hard.
It's a lot.
It is, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, and the intention was for it to be fun. And when it turned into this nasty thing, that was so sad. And I think it was like, I'm being all the things that I am wrong. That's the perfect way to put it. And I remember calling one of my friends, one of my sweet gay friends, and I was like, am I the worst like queer woman ever? And they were like, chill, bro. But yeah, it is that. And it's also like, these people don't know you. And I don't know. It's just hard to put people into boxes. Isn't that the point? Like, aren't we supposed to like take ourselves out of the boxes? Aren't we trying to figure out that like maybe the boxes are wrong and like let's color out the lines and figure it out from there. So I think
this is a, you know, you didn't exactly put it super clearly and you know, honestly,
I know, I'm sorry.
Well, no. In you know, just to kind of like tighten it up, because I think this is important to say, you know, in response to that question, like I thought maybe like off the bat, like your response might be like, everybody thought we were industry plants or whatever, you know what I mean? But it seems like what you're saying in so many words is like, what people didn't understand about Tramp Stamps is that, and this seems funny to say in a way, but like people didn't realize that you were people and
exactly
just genuinely were doing what you felt like doing.
Right. And I think there's a difference between criticizing someone and being like, oh, I don't like this song. Like, I'm super down for that. But it was not about that. It became about them like tearing us down as people and like challenging my character, you know? And I understand that because you don't want to stand somebody that you feel like isn't a good person, but we didn't have the chance to like let people get to know us. That was our third song. And we were that was the first time we'd ever gotten on TikTok. And we just didn't have a chance for people to get to know us. And they had created all these massive narratives that just weren't authentic. But they seem authentic, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, at this point, you know, because you're only speaking for yourself here, obviously.
Right.
Like at this point, like, what are you feeling like from your own perspective? Like, what is the present and or future of, you know, Tramp Stamps at the moment? You know, is it still like a thing or?
Yes, it is. I think we don't know what the future is, because I think when that happens to you, in that way and in this certain space that we had created it's really hard to get back to that place. So right, I think we're just trying to figure out what it is. Devastating, especially when you do it for fun with your best friends. And you're watching your best friends go through this thing and you're going through this thing with them, and everything that you do or say affects your life and their lives. And so I think that was really hard because this band was our like outlet and our time to like hang out and have fun and just let loose. And I think we're just trying to figure out how to get back in that place and what that means for us.
I'm seeing someone said in chat, please let Tramp Stamps have a redemption arc. Honestly, no matter what happens, I would, you know, laying low maybe for a little bit longer is probably good, but I'd give it one more whack. I'd give it one, if only just to make the hive go crazy again. Like just give it one more and just see what happens. Just see what happens.
I love that. Yeah. I'm very protective of my girls and our space. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I would love to do that. And I think we would all love to do that. And we will in our way, but I'm more focused on us vibing at the moment. You know?
Well, that's totally cool. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
You know, at a couple of points across the interview, and even with you and I having exchanges before this conversation, you've like, you know, offhandedly expressed like, I don't know, like either a regret or like a realization that like something that we did something wrong or something we did was bad or so on and so forth. Like I'm getting this sense that like there's some things, at least in terms of like how Tramp Stamps approached or wrote or recorded or something, that you might do different in retrospect. And, you know, if that is in fact the case, maybe I'm reading that wrong, but if that is the case, like what would that be? I
think that's an interesting question, because I wouldn't take back anything that we did.
Right.
I think that I wouldn't. And I think that I learned a lot of valuable lessons, like as a human being and as a creator in this. And I think it's kind of like grounded me in myself. You know, I'm no longer, I don't see art or the world that I live in as this like pedestal or thing to hop up on, you know? But I think what I've learned, and this is like valuable information, since this has happened to me, it's funny because I've had a lot of artists like call me when they're having like trouble on the internet who do kind of controversial music, and they're like, what do I do? I've literally become like the mother for all the internet kids. No, literally I've become the mother for all the internet kids.
Right.
But I've had them call me. I think like the most helpful thing I can say here is just advice to other artists. If you're an artist, if you're watching this, or if you're going to watch this or whatever, I think when people are saying things about you, take a goddamn breath. Like you don't owe anybody anything. You don't. Okay. Because if you feel like you do, you're not going to say something that's authentic to you, and you're not going to say it for the right reasons. And you don't want to do that. So I think just take a breath and think about what you want to do next. Everything is in your control. You have the choice to use your platform the way that you want to. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Not to create a hot seat situation, but
Give me a hot seat.
Just out of curiosity, because I just think it would be funny. Like, you know, in the midst of all of this, I did not engage. I did not respond, because obviously, like, I have no wish to beef with you. You know, I hold no ill will toward you. But I did see like your Instagram story post about me, like calling me out or whatever. So in that moment, did you want to kill me? Did you just like want to slice my fucking melon head off?
Here's where that came from. No. So what I will say is I remember this timeline so vividly, because the first day that I saw the video that you posted was like the day we got like hella fucking canceled on the internet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you had posted like the worst Tramp Stamps video, and they were like, I remember we were sitting on Carol's couch and she like played it and she's like, oh, have you guys seen this? And I was like, holy shit, you guys, like, that's crazy. Like, do you know who he is? Like, whatever. And I'm freaking out. And like, that was fine. You said a lot of good things in there. Even when you went through our statement, I was like, he fucking has coming in with the goddamn tea. And then you posted the third video on our like EP.
Yeah, the whole.
And
EP.
like you did say like a lot of valuable things, but I was also like, you're kind of just hating, bro. And
I did tear it apart.
And then that made me sad. You did no, but I'm like down to be torn apart is the thing. But I was just like, damn, this feels like a lot of the other internet hate, and I thought you were better than that. But like, it's okay. It's like it just is what it is. I wasn't like, I'm over it. You know what I mean?
Again, it's like, you know, I saw it and I was like, I deserve that. You know, I like she could fucking shit on me as a result of that. It's like, you know, I wasn't.
Dude,
super...
you gotta do it though. Like sometimes you just gotta do it.
No, I get it. I was like, you know, I'm not gonna like be like, oh look, she's mad. Da, da, da. It's like, no, you could be mad. That's totally fine.
I was mad for like a month just because I love you. So I was like
30 whole days of Anthony Fantano hate bubbling at the top of your brain.
You don't understand. I'm like crazy. So yeah.
It's all right. I've had a few breaths with insanity.
Yeah. That's why I say taking the breath is important, especially if you're an angry person. I'm fueled by anger and I just live in anger. And sometimes mama needs to breathe, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
So like at what point after all of this did you, not to be too dramatic about it, but like start to pick up the pieces and you're like, I need to work on some solo stuff. You know, I need to like keep, you know, writing and, you know, at least for me.
I think it wasn't like a decision. I think it was like a mode of survival,
right?
Almost like, and because I'm in therapy now, obviously.
As a result of this?
Yeah, for sure. Which is like, honestly, the positive thing though. It's
totally understandable because honestly, it's like, you know, most people would have to.
Yes, but this also forced me to deal with my shit, like my childhood trauma and stuff that I've been burying. And I was like, God, like that's a beautiful gift that the canceling internet gave me, you know? And I appreciate that. That's why I wouldn't change it for the world. So yeah, I think it was my therapist and I had a talk where I had realized that I, as most artists do, I'm sure, sort of like process through writing songs. And she was like, you should just write songs to write them and not for work, because that gets very tricky for your brain. If you're processing your emotions and working at the same time, like it's going to fuck you up. So I just started writing in my bedroom, and then I wrote Drugs with God, and I was just so proud of it. And I was like, wow, okay, I want to put this out. So to
kind of dig into that a little bit, like when you are writing, typically what does that process look like? Are you working, mostly off of a pad and pen, a guitar, a piano, a vocal? Like, how exactly do, a lot of your song ideas come to you? And, what do you find yourself kind of, inching toward first in terms of like, an axe or a tool to start, jotting things down or expressing something?
It really depends on the day. I think sometimes I just pick up a guitar. I'm terrible at guitar, but my mode of writing is guitar.
Right.
And so I just pick up a guitar, and sometimes I just start like singing, and then I say something and I'm like, holy shit, I'm a genius, And so then I'm like, I got the internet would disagree, but it's okay.
I'm glad. No, you deserve those moments. You deserve those moments. Yeah. The internet can't take them away from you.
No, they can't, and that's the thing that I've realized is just, you got to fall in love with the process, bro. So I'll do that. And then sometimes, then the song comes from there, or I'll just be like walking around my house or something will happen. Somebody will say something and I'm like, holy shit, that's the best. That's a brilliant song concept. And I'll go home and I'll just like write something, or I'll write it down if I think it's good for somebody else or whatever. But yeah, Drugs with God was like, specifically that song was when everything was going down, because I had done this thing with pure intentions and I had hoped that it was going to be this good thing, and it manifested in this nasty way. I had an existential crisis, of course, as you do. And then I was thinking about like God and like if he's real or they or she or, whatever they are. If they really had created humanity in that way and it turned out like this, like how the fuck can you not be depressed, and what do you do to cope with that? And so I was like, he's got to be doing fucking drugs, The first concept for that was actually like God has a dark sense of humor. And then we tried to write that. I wrote it in the room with the co-writer that I love working with all the time, Sarah Troy. She's on the song. And we had started to write that and it just like didn't feel authentic because like that's not actually what I was trying to say. I didn't know that yet, but I was like, this just isn't working. So then I picked up my guitar and I just wrote the chorus to Growing Up Can Go to Hell, which is like one of my other songs that I put out. And then we wrote that song in like 30 minutes. And that came out, and then I went home and it was like raining and I was like still depressed or whatever because I was like, I had the song concept and I like, didn't get it, blah, blah, blah. And it was raining and like thundering. And then I was just like, holy shit, like angels, thunder, bowling, like rolling. Drugs, like he's doing drugs. So I like go home and I race home and I'm like looking out my window and I start writing the song. And I wrote like the first verse through the chorus and I sent it to her and I was like, do you hear anything on this? Do you want to finish this? And she's like, holy shit, Marissa. Yeah, I'm coming over tomorrow. Like, let's do it. So we wrote that and then we sent it to the producer, Ruslan, whatever. Yeah. But shit just happens like that. I don't know. It just depends. Sometimes you go in with the concept and you get it and sometimes you don't. And I don't know.
Okay. Two more things about the new song, which again is out now and everybody should, go out there and stream it. That I want to get into, one specific thing that I think people should know if they are familiar with like the Tramp Stamps stuff and the TikTok videos and everything, like go into your vocal approach on the song, because like in terms of what and how you sing here is night and day different than sort of like the punk affectation that you put on for the Tramp Stamp songs, which obviously like makes sense within the context of what you were doing there, but you take a very different approach vocally here. So it's like, was there an intention behind that?
The vocal approach
the vibe you were going for?
No, well, because the thing is, yeah, I wrote it in my room by myself, just like to an unplugged electric. And for some reason it just like sounded cool. And then when we had taken it to the producer, I had sent him the original one that I had written, and then Sarah and I finished, and he was like, we need to do it exactly like this, like first like voice memo that you had sent to me. So he like, of course he made the chords a little better in the chorus and like obviously made it sound like a movie. But yeah, no, he was like, this needs to be sung like exactly this way because it's just like right.
Just really quick, I do want to give a shout out to Hassan for coming through with a raid. There's 11,000 people watching right now.
Holy shit.
All of a sudden. So reintroduction to Marisa Maino, solo artist and also 1/3 of Tramp Stamps, who came through here for an interview. We'll have it up on the Fantano channel later, but follow and check out her new song, Drugs with God. It's very good. Stream it. It's out on all platforms now. We're talking about that record. One of the most significant things about the song, the part that like really like sold it for me, was the ending. So through you, your co-writer and the producer, like how exactly did things head in this direction where it's like we need the biggest fucking, most monumental, most distorted. I need to hit the fucking God. Like,
so what's funny about
I need to hit like the highest note that I can hit like on that finish and just like have it bang.
What's funny about that is the producer, whom I literally love so much. He's the best. We were in his studio and we had just finished the song. He had the idea he was like, we need to do an outro. And so the fucking brilliant line was his idea. He perfectly tied it up because I'd written that like little part when he was like, we should do an outro about, just there's more to be said. And so then I, got to then he needed a friend thing. And I guess that's what happens when you're fucking brilliant. And I was like, dude, you're fucking brilliant. So we did that. And then he started to record that. And then I don't know how he got to that point, but he just started like slamming on the guitar, like the mic running, and I just started like singing that, and he like stopped and turned around and looked at me, and I was like, do you hate that? Is that bad? And he was like, no, do that again, and like just turned around and like so it was just like a completely organic moment. And when it happened, I thought he hated it because he didn't say anything and he just stopped and he turned around and I was like, oh. And he was like, no, that's great. So yeah.
No, it's a really stunning ending. And honestly, it's like for anybody who...
I completely attribute that to the producer. Yeah.
No. It's also the vocal on that part too. Shut up. It's the vocal as well. Don't talk. Please don't talk down on yourself in this interview. Please, there's enough of that going on the internet. For anybody who's been witness to the Tramp Stamps controversy, I think most of them, if they're going into it with honest ears and hearts, will hear that ending and be like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. So yeah, most definitely like Drugs with God. Listen to it and check it out. But from here with that song being out, like as much as you're willing to kind of like spoil and tease toward, like what is kind of your creative trajectory right now? Is it more solo stuff? Is it, some video releases or something like that? Like what is the immediate future looking for you in terms of in terms of output?
Yeah. So the song does have a music video, which will come out soon.
Okay.
I don't exactly remember when at this moment.
Are you just railing lines with God in the video?
I wish, but no, I didn't want to be like super disrespectful. You know what I mean? Feel like I've already done that enough. But no, it was basically just an amazing director had heard the song and he was like, please let me do something to this. And I was like, okay. So, and I was just like in LA. So we just like, shot a little bit of stuff. So yeah, that'll come out. There's more music coming, which I'm excited about. So yeah, a lot more solo stuff for sure.
So as of right now, is there kind of like an album bumping around in your mind, or are you just like kind of putting out songs and just kind of like feeling it out?
I mean, we're kind of feeling it out, but like would love to do an EP. We're just trying to figure out like what that would look like and what happens there. We have like a few tentative songs and ideas for that, but I don't know yet. I don't know too much yet. Okay. And by we, I mean me and my manager, I can't do anything without her because I'm a very codependent person. Yeah.
As far as like other stuff that you might be working on or just like, future music and anything that kind of harkens back to maybe some of the more pop oriented stuff that you've dropped like pre-Tramp Stamps, or do you feel like creatively right now you're looking toward a different direction? For
sure. I just wrote this song like 2 days ago that I want to put out. It's called Track 5 and it's very poppy and yeah.
The title is Track 5?
The title is Track 5. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. How long have you been in, I know that you're out of Nashville. Like, how long have you been in Nashville and sort of like, either peripherally or directly, like been involved in the industry over there?
Not that long. I moved here for college in 2015, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I started writing for the first time when I got here. So I've just been writing since then and just kind of fell into the industry. Yeah. I came here to go to music school, and then like I was a music school dropout, like all of them. I did graduate college like with a business degree, but I dropped out of music school because I was like,
wait, hold on. Music school dropout.
I am.
That's kind of punk.
You're. Why didn't I think of that before?
Honestly, I'm going to be real here. I'm going to put money on it that some of those punk TikTok bitches actually finished art school. Who were making fun of you guys, but you.
Yeah.
You dropped the fuck out.
Clearly, I don't know what the fucking theory is, bitch. I have no idea.
You're like, I'm fucking out of here. It's like, you stuck up pussies can stay and make fun of me on TikTok later. But you did the punk thing. You got the fuck out of there.
Exactly. I just couldn't handle it. There was like a teacher up there who was telling me how to sing, and I was like literally everything. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. I love that, Anthony. I'm posting a clip of it. I'm gonna project this onto my bed every night. Like before I go to bed, it's gonna be a projected clip of you saying that, and whenever I get sad, I'm like,
I'm sorry. I wish I had been there in the war room to like direct things in the midst of it, because you should have gone on there and be like, listen, bitches, I'm a fucking music school dropout. You're not gonna tell me this, that, and the other thing with your fucking art school degrees. Fuck you.
I literally, there's so much serotonin to my brain right now. I actually can't process what's happening. I will remember that. Don't think I'll forget.
Pull
what we needed was you in the panic room, Anthony. That's where we went wrong. We just didn't know.
No, you should have pulled that out immediately.
Well, you live and you learn,
No, but I think that's essential to hear, because looking at it from the outside and look, I get it, because it's all based on a lack of information. And people not, and it's that, and people also not really understanding how things are appearing in front of them on the internet.
Absolutely.
I think, in my experience on TikTok, like stuff appears in front of me for positive reasons just as often as stuff appears in front of me for negative reasons. Where it's like because ultimately these algorithms at the end of the day are just sort of gauging engagement. They're not gauging whether or not it's positive or negative engagement,
right,
as long as it's engagement. If it's negative engagement and they're seeing a lot of it, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Let's just make that engagement happen more by bringing more people from whatever network over to this thing. And, I think, again, a lot of people are sort of like looking at it from the outside and thinking like, I must only be seeing this because a label's trying to manipulate me, or da 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 da, and that's not always the case. That's not always the case.
I hope labels don't try to manipulate people that way. Like, I don't know if they do, but if they do, that's dark as hell. I mean, don't do that to someone unless they ask. I don't know.
Like, given TikTok is kind of the place to blow up right now, and everybody on the platform is aware of that. I mean, I've been emailed on a few different occasions where, people have been like, hey, so, this label over here, somebody who I know from a label is really trying to make this song blow up. If you could interact with it some way, that would be great. And and much of the time, just like, no, I'm a reviewer, or if I,
you're like, I have standards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like I'll listen to it, and if I like it, I won't have anything, I won't hesitate to say anything about it, but like, those sort of mentions or those kind of suggestions were kind of done at the, I guess kind of the angle of like, oh, well, we're going to try to make it a thing. We're going to try to create a wave around it. And you could be like, one of the first people who were in the wave or whatever. And I'm just like, nah, I'll just do my own thing.
Thank you for this opportunity, sir, but no. Yeah.
Right. But the thing is,
opportunity you presented.
I think a lot of people just kind of presume that like if they see something, like what you guys were kind of presenting, it just must be there because they're trying to be tricked into liking it or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When, again, you're talking about being a young person, moving out to Nashville to go to college, dropping out of music school. And you said you ended up finishing a business degree, though?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how I made it through school, but I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, again, you did that much. So is that anything that you feel like you've been able to apply in the wider music world?
I think the most helpful thing from business school was maybe looking at contracts, because even when we were getting contracts,
that's essential.
Which is probably why we didn't sign. Because that's probably why I didn't sign. I was just like, hell fucking no. Like, we're not doing that.
You were Tramp Stamps.
I mean, they all had their own opinions about why they didn't want to sign things,
Right.
But for me, I was just like, this is definitely not good deals. I don't want to do this,
Well, when you say were you offered like a solo deal, or are you saying like collectively you guys were offered?
We were offered collective deals, and like as a like branch off of that, certain people had offered us solo deals if they were going to sign the band. Yeah.
Like prior to the controversy or in the wake of the controversy?
Prior to the controversy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when we were like popping off.
So again, also interesting, given just all the hate that you guys have gotten. You guys had at one point prior to the controversy opportunity.
And we said no. I know that was the most disappointing part. I know. I was like, God damn it, we should have just fucking signed the check. Why did we sign the check?
Right, because if you
sure
did,
things would have happened so differently if we had done that. But yeah.
Well, yeah. Or like what could have happened is you would have signed, you would have gotten a check, and then the internet would have turned Tramp Stamps into a crater, and then you would have just been like, fuck you, you already paid us.
Yeah, I would have loved to do that, to be honest. Like
which also would have been a very rock and roll way to go out.
Yeah, you're right. But that's not what happened. I'm still broke. But anyways, so that happened. And then when we were popping off as well, I think like by the time 1-800 came out, like every label was interested in us, right before that. So yeah, and we still decided not to sign,
So generally speaking, just from, your own perspective, like what are some of the things that you're seeing in these contracts or stuff that, generally would see in a contract and think like, no, I can't, no fucking way. That's just like a red flag.
Oh, this is a really good question.
Especially since there are so many people out there who are kind of maybe in your situation who just don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of loopholes. Like, I think because labels have to make their money back, right? So even if you're seeing a massive check, and the deal might look good percentage-wise in some places, they're still going to figure out ways to make that back.
Yeah, they're not going to give you $1 million unless they think they're going to make 10 back.
Right, and we didn't have any prior thing to show for that, So of course they're going to figure out drastic ways to make back their money. That's just what happens. I think a lot of labels will try to cross-collateralize off of touring and merch sales, and I mean, we saw crazy shit, where it looks really appealing and then it's not. So I think just watch out for entertainment rights, everybody out there. There's an entertainment section because a lot of shady shit will go down in there. I think the percentage you make back off your masters is really important as well. There's a lot of actually debate in the industry, from what I found, is that people are willing to give a lot up, and that works, and you can re-up your deals later and have more, things. But what labels will do now is they'll offer you like a licensing deal that makes you have the illusion that you'll have your masters back. Because I think masters are really valuable to artists because you can retire off masters,
right.
Like let's say you make one album and that's the best album you ever make, and you make millions of dollars off that, and then you don't get to see that in the back end. If you can retire off that. You can go sell that catalog to somebody if it's still making money, and you can retire off that and live off that forever. But labels will do like licensing deals, which seem really like artist friendly, but then they'll have the ability to extend that license for all of eternity all of eternity if they decide to, which they will, right? So you're probably most likely not going to get those masters back. It's just like a fancy way of saying they own your masters or a loophole, you know? So I think just make sure that you have somebody that's educated on all of the new fancy terms that they're using in order to do that, because label deals really aren't all that different from the way that they used to be. They've just figured out ways to make it look more appealing to artists, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Yeah, you know, I don't think anybody, you know, in the music industry should be signing anything without having a lawyer look at it first, for sure.
Absolutely. But, and I think about that though, because I think about some of the things that we've seen. And actually, when this was happening to us, I'm ranting on this and then I'll stop, I promise.
No, this
I think about
information.
Yeah, I think about how crazy it was for us, because I literally had $2 in my bank account. I was literally sleeping on my friend's couch and people are throwing money at the wall. So of course that's like enticing. Almost all deals that artists sign are out of duress in whatever way. And I think that's fucked up, you know? And so just make sure that you're not acting out of duress, even though it's really hard. And I think, where was I going with this? Yeah, always have a lawyer look at it. I can't remember where I was going with this. I had a point, but I forget it already. But yeah, this was my point. I think about like 15-year-old kids who don't have that ability, because I think that was helpful for me actually to go to business school while I talked a lot of shit about being in college while I was in college. Looking at contracts did help me in a way. And I think about if I had gotten signed as a 16-year-old, or if what had happened to us had happened to me at 16, and, you know, labels want to fly you out and they want you to meet these cool people. And then you sign a deal that's like terrible for you and you're a kid and you don't know any better, you know, because things look shiny and it seems awesome. You're about to get all this money and then you're literally screwed for life. So I think, especially if you're young, just hold your fucking horses, you know? But that's not to say that labels aren't great, and I love them and I believe in them and I think you need them in order to, of course, there's like, I don't know, there's exceptions to the rules. But just, there's a lot of nasty people in the industry, and at the end of the day, they have shareholders to like speak to. So they're trying to make money off of you. Just remember that, even if they seem like your best friend, you know, you got to look out for yourself.
Marisa, thank you for coming through and just, you know, being so open about your experiences, your new music, all the Tramp Stamp stuff, and bestowing just some, you know, smart, sagely information onto us too.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this. And, you know, I'm a fan. And yeah. You know, can you rate my song? Even if it's like not very good, will you rate it? What do you think? What,
Drug with God?
Yeah.
No, it's a very good song. I'd give it like a 7 or an 8, you know, in that range.
Okay, not the worst song of the year, so like you've improved.
Not even close to the worst song of the year. The ending is incredible.
Yay! I got better than Charlie Puth.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I'll say 2 things. Your song is exponentially better than the new Charlie Puth, and I cannot I cannot under fucking stand why Tramp Stamps got absolutely shit on, but the fucking ABCDEFU song is popular. That is literally 10 times worse than any Tramp Stamp song. The fucking ABCDEFU song is hot on TikTok, but Tramp Stamps were enemy number 1.
I have to go.
Like, I have way more hatred for that song in my body than any Tramp Stamp song ever.
Well, I appreciate that, is what I will say. I have no comment. Because I love the girls that wrote that song.
Okay, well, you know.
And I'm so proud of them and happy for them. I literally am. I'm gagged.
It is an inconsistency.
I love to know that because it's doing so well. So I really appreciate that.
Okay. It's still better than the Charlie Puth song, though. It's still better than the Charlie Puth song.
Let's go. No.
It's way better.
All of that, I'm taking it to the grave. I can quit now, actually. This is me quitting. I've done it.
I don't know. I feel like, I know you're kidding, but like, even just to say it, I feel like writing a better song than that Charlie Puth song is way too low of a bar for you to set yourself. I think you can go way, way harder.
Okay, call me out like that. Okay, I will.
All right. Thank you again very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Yeah, this has been great. All right. Yeah, just hit us up when you're coming out with more stuff.
I will, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I'll probably bother you after this. I don't know. Okay.
Sounds good. And on YouTube, we'll link to the new song down below so people can check it out there too.
Amazing. Thank you, Anthony.
All right. Thank you. Bye.